Hey, this is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our MLB On Deck segment for Friday, April 26th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This is going to watch all of our MLB, NBA, NFL videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel, and DraftKings cash line update. We're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So what up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, bro?
Yo, what up, bro? How you doing, man? It's
Hey, good.
Friday.
Hey, Friday, I had a really good night last night in MLB. I'm looking to bounce back and kind of make it 2 nights in a row. One quick thing, really quick, before we do jump on, I want to say is that yesterday when we did this video, we told everybody the top two stacks are probably going to be Boston and Seattle. Boston wasn't the top stack. I mean, Angels was a better stack, but they were a pretty good stack. They still ended up getting us 7 runs. You can't complain. And then we have Seattle. We said was definitely, if not the first best or second best team
How you doing, man?
target. And guess what, man? They came in at 5% ownership. I mean, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
I could be in the front office in about
Yeah, a lot,
six
a lot
minutes, 10 minutes at the most.
higher up. So, hey, it is.
Perfect, man. Thank you. I'll see you then.
Into it.
Bye-bye.
First team that I'm going to talk about today, bat-wise, is going to be the Minnesota Twins. I like the Twins today going against Alec Cobb. They got a 5.5 implied, which is the highest on the slate.
Yo,
Yes.
I hate to cut you off. I'm sorry. But do you mind if I roll through pitching real quick? I have an appointment with a college recruiter who just gave me a call. I had to answer the phone while we're on this video. I got a bone out. I got
Go ahead.
but let me just hit pitching for you guys really quick, because this is a very rare day for me, right? We were joking about this before we hopped on. Very rarely for me do I get to say, have the easy day with who the pitchers are. But you got some of the sexiest names in baseball as far as pitching goes throwing tonight. You start with the man himself, Max Scherzer. You've got Jacob deGrom. You've got Paxton, who coming off 2 great starts. And then, you've got Ryu at home. You've also got Bumgarner, you've got Fried, and you've got Rodon, all who have pitched well as tournament options. So today's basically going to be when we do the deep dive. Today's basically going to be figuring out who that cash game pitcher is. Is it, in fact, Max Scherzer? Is there going to be a pitch limit on Jacob deGrom? Is Paxton the best option late going against the Giants? Right? The Giants, they did have 2 good games at Toronto, but this is not a team that's loaded with power. And Paxton gets a pitch at a ballpark in Oracle Park. I always want to call it AT&T now, but it's not Oracle Park. That is a pitcher-friendly environment with cold, dense air. So that's what we'll be figuring out on the deep dive. But it's not a difficult day to figure out who the sexy guys are and who the good options are. We will also take a look at Chris Archer. Chris Archer's a guy that I stacked against the last 2 times he's pitched. Chris Archer has a ton of upside. He's got a ton of strikeout upside. But anybody who's played Chris Archer in the last 2 or 3 years know that there's been some frustrating times that we've rostered Chris Archer where he's absolutely been blown up. There are some things that I've seen looking at his metrics that's going to be. We'll kind of dive into that and see, are the Dodgers a stack that we want to load up tonight at probably a very low owned rate. So that's where I'm at with pitching. I hate to bone out on you, but I do got to get.
Yeah, no problem. I'm gonna finish up bats and get out of here myself. So thanks for helping me out and kind of getting started with the pitching for the day as well. So on the Minnesota side of things, man, we got some guys, some teams that we definitely want to look at to stack. First team I'm going to look at is going to be the Minnesota Twins. They have the highest total on the slate of 5.5. They get a matchup today with Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb just hasn't been pitching well on the season. He gives up a 326 WOBA to left-handers, 369 WOBA to right-handers. I definitely think that there's some Minnesota guys that are in play. A couple guys that are really standing out to me. You got Nelson Cruz, 8 for 23, 2 doubles, 2 home runs. He's probably the main guy that I want to look at. You can look at CJ Cron at a discounted price. I think that Cron is definitely in play as well. He has some good numbers, and he's batting in the the heart of that order. He's 4 for 14 with a double and a home run. You can always look at Eddie Rosario, a couple other guys. So, yeah, Minnesota's going to be one of the top teams that you want to look at. Next, we're going to move on to the team I just mentioned, Seattle. I'm going to go right back to the well. I'm not going to say they're going to score 14 runs or whatever the crazy amount was yesterday, but I think this is another day that they could definitely score some runs going against Shelby Miller. They have the second highest implied total of 5 runs today. And Shelby Miller just isn't very good. He gives up a 424 WOBA to left-handers, 429 WOBA to right-handers. So the guy's been getting hit pretty hard. A couple guys that really stand out to me, Edwin Encarnacion, 4 for 12 with a double. You got D. Gordon, who's 8 for 25. With a double and 4 stolen bases. In Seattle, man, they're a team that, they have some sneaky guys that you can look at that people are not really talking about. Perfect example, nobody's talking about D. Gordon no more. Nobody's really talking about even about Encarnacion because everybody wrote off Seattle, and they've been playing very, very well. Tim Beckham is another guy you could throw in that stack. Malik Smith, if he's in the lineup, at the top of the order, he's definitely in play. So you got to look at Seattle. I think they're in another good spot once again. Next, we're going to move on to Philadelphia. I really like Philadelphia today going against Jose Urena. I liked Philadelphia yesterday. I thought they were going to put a little bit more runs up than they did. Didn't end up happening. Jose Urena gives up a 331 WOBA to left-handers, 289 WOBA to right-handers. Man, I like Philadelphia. This lineup is just, it has so much potential any night. This lineup really reminds me of like a Houston lineup or even like a Yankees lineup, not Baltimore, but Boston lineup, where any night this lineup could put up 10 runs. They just have a really, really stacked lineup. You start with their obvious guys. You got to look at Bryce Harper, McCutchen, Real Muto, Hoskins. Those are my favorite 4 guys. And another guy that I like as well, Cesar Hernandez. He moved up in the lineup. He's been batting in that 2-hole. He's 8 for 29 with a triple, 3 home runs, and a couple of stolen bases against Urena. I'm liking that Philly stack. Moving on, my 4th team I'm going to be looking at is going to be the White Sox. The White Sox have been so hit or miss this season. I understand it doesn't even give me the best feeling, talking about the White Sox, but it is what it is. They're in another good spot going against Daniel Norris, gives up a 376 WOBA to left-handers, 351 WOBA to right-handers. You look at their best guys. It is what it is. You start with Jose Abreu, their best player. You look at him, then you got to go with Alonso, Tim Anderson, Juan Moncada. Those are the guys. Those are their masters. Those are whenever they have good days, it's really because those guys get going. So you really got to look at their main 4 guys. Moving on, we got Toronto. We got the debut of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They said he's going to be in that lineup today. He's probably going to definitely carry some ownership, especially the fact that Toronto has the 5th highest total on the slate. People are going to be on them. That's fine. I probably will have a couple shares as well. Toronto is just like the White Sox. They're definitely hit or miss, but they are in play in a good matchup. They get a matchup against Mike Fiers. Mike Fiers gives up a 331 WOBA to left-handers, 345 WOBA to right-handers. Like I said, Toronto, outside of Vladimir Guerrero and his debut today, he's probably going to carry the highest ownership on Toronto. You got to look at some of their other guys. You got to look at Justice Smoke. Eric Sogard has been batting the top of the order for cheap. Teoscar Hernandez has shown us a little bit of upside the past couple of years. He's in play. Maybe Grichich. Those are the guys that you kind of want to target. On the Blue Jays side of things, moving on, next team I like as well. We're going to be looking at, I know, just real quick, I know I'm talking about a lot of teams, but there's a 15-game slate. So I have 7 teams I'm targeting out of 30 teams. It's really not that much. So my 6th team I'm going to be targeting is going to be the Atlanta Braves. Atlanta Braves get a matchup at home. We talk about Atlanta being kind of the second course field. Well, they get a matchup going against the Rockies. And I expect this game to have some runs on both sides. Atlanta gets a matchup against Cincinnati, gives up a 313 WOBA to left-handers, 324 WOBA with the right-handers. You got to look at the Braves, the young guys, Acuna, Albies, and then you can look at the Freemans, Inciartes, Marquez. Those are probably the top 5 guys for me on Atlanta. Finishing it out, I'm going to go with my Dodgers. I just think they're a really good stack today. Going against Archer. Jeremy was telling you guys kind of his thoughts on Archer, and we've been stacking against Archer. He just don't got it no more. He definitely can go out and have a really crazy good game. He has that upside, but he has a lot of downside as well. Then he gets a matchup against a bunch of left-handers for the Dodgers who have a lot of power. Yeah, man, I just don't see this turning out very well for Archer, man. I think that, you got to look at Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger. Those are our 3 main lefties. Even Muncy, man. You can stack all those lefties, and you can even throw in a Justin Turner as well. So just to recap the bats I'm looking at, start with 1 through 7. I'm going Minnesota, Seattle, Philadelphia, Washington, and then we're rounding it out with Toronto, Atlanta, and the Dodgers. So that's really where I'm at, man. If you guys want to, check out more in-depth analysis on anything on today's slate, pitching-wise, stack-wise, you're looking for value, you're looking at just the best plays at each position. Hey, we got it all. Check it out, dfscheatsheet.com. Go get yourself your 3-day trial. You got nothing to lose. Outside of that, hey, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, and peace out.